Devil's advocates whisper in the hall, where justice wears a mask and truth begins to fall. Every thread they pull, every lie they weave, in the courtroom's dance, who's left to believe? Oh, the devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end. The devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end in sight. Photograph fades where the truth once stood, blurred lines between the bad and the good. The scales they tilt with every silver tongue, while the broken cry for a song unsung. Black robes sway like shadows on the wall, one wrong word and the mighty fall. Who's a sinner? Who's a saint? The jury's out, but the verdict's faint. Oh, the devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end. The devil's in the details, hiding in plain sight, innocent until the gavel steals the light. True crime echoes through the hollow night, fighting injustice with no end in sight.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you want to know why I'm here today? It's not because I want to give you a pep talk or because I want to make you feel good about yourselves. No, I'm here to tell you the truth.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. Hopefully my microphone is on. If I can get a 1 or some kind of thumbs up or a finger, middle finger, I don't know, something just to let me know that you can actually hear me. That would be a step in the right direction. Why does my camera seem so off? Thank you for letting me know that my sound is okay. Wow, like everything, why am I shifted? Like, is the right camera working here? Like, I don't understand. By the way, I thought I had this sound leveled on my machine where that intro music was the same volume as the little Minions thing. I'm going to fix my camera a little bit. I don't know what's going on. I'm discombobulated. I'll tell you that much right now. Anyways, I'm so irritated. Like, I need a production person because I had that intro or the exit part with the Minions is like 20 freaking decibels louder than the intro music. It blares my ears out. I thought I fixed it. I was all excited, but guess what? I have the original file that's broken and the fixed file that's working. And apparently I loaded the freaking original broken file and not the one that's leveled after I told everybody I fixed the leveling thing. So I apologize if it just blasted out your ears. Oh, man. And am I blurry or is it just me? I don't know. I'm discombobulated. Like I said, I spent 4 hours at the bank today. I cannot believe that something that should have taken 20 minutes ended up taking 4 hours. I was there all day off and on trying to finish some paperwork, not related to a business at all. Just trying to take care of some personal finances, and it's a nightmare because I didn't have time to prepare for today's show. However, I have things for this show, and I have things to talk about. Am I blurry, or is my vision just suck? I'm gonna put my little glasses on. I'm fine. I'm fine. My vision is blurry because I suck. By the way, welcome to the show on another Devil's Advocates evening. This is the Crimes After Dark. That's why I have. Oh, by the way, why do I not have? What is going on with my show tonight? I had earlier that pinned parental advisory. Anyways, I have a parental advisory in the corner for a reason. I feel like everything is off tonight. I'm going to go ahead and bring Robin up. I got guests backstage. We'll talk a little bit about the show. Robin's co-producer of my show. And I'm going to bring Robin up because we just gave her brand new permissions so that she can spank the llama's ass and treat you like a redheaded stepchild and all the other euphemisms. We're going to add her to the stage. Look at that. I added one to the stage as well. Well, I guess you're here. We haven't added Joe. Joe's backstage waiting. So Robin, are you there? Let's test your mic. Oops. Let's make sure you're unmuted because I know you're there. Let's make you unmuted. There you go. And one should
Hello.
be unmuted as well. Hey, how you doing?
All right.
So one, do you have your
All right.
mic too? Let's just make sure you're good.
I'm here.
All right.
Can you hear me? I'm here.
I can. So you guys are going to probably have to carry me a little bit because I am so frustrated. I got to tell you, we committed to doing a nightly show. It takes about an hour for me to put together show notes. And I was literally leaving the bank with 30 minutes to get back home and try to put together show notes, which I have not been able to do. I've got a few show notes on the Idaho 4, a few show notes for Tyler Robinson, Charlie Kirk situation, a little thing for Rex Heuermann, and that's it. But there is certainly lots we can talk about. I don't think ever have really a problem talking. Like all of us seem to have a gift of gab. Let me say some hellos before we get Joe up on stage. So Joe, just chill there, have your drink, enjoy yourself for a minute. We'll bring you up in a moment from State of the Deep. So let me say hi to our guests. And again, please, if you are in the house, please let me know where you're coming in from, or where you're living, where you're calling in from, whatever you want to call it, because I love finding where our audience comes from. Essie's in the house, first on the show today, which pissed off Penny. She's like, "Oh my God, do you guys camp out here? How the hell can I already be third? I got here hours early." But yeah, apparently Essie logs out. This is becoming a thing to be the first person in the show. Teresa, welcome to the show again tonight. Penny from Idaho. I know I can just tell you that location because I know that one. Lilith Claymore. That sounds really cool. Lilith Claymore. Anyways, welcome to the show. Some of you guys are crazy. That's what. Yeah, you must be pitching a tent. Good evening. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. You must be pitching a tent. You were here way too early. Estes Crime Maze is not backstage. You guys have probably gotten used to a little bit with Estes Crime Maze. He's probably going to show up tonight. I think he's going to show up, and he's going to be going live tomorrow on his own show. And so we're going to try. I'm trying to help him get that worked out so that we can help him with that for tomorrow. Brandy J, hi DA, and hope everyone is well tonight. Jennifer Henry, welcome to the show, and thanks for saying hi to the beautiful people in the house. 1-1, of course, is backstage, so I won't even pin your comment because you're not backstage, you're on stage.
I'm everywhere.
You're everywhere. I can't even keep track of you. And what else do we have here? Let's see. I know there were some people in here that I haven't said. Deborah Lindsay, hello, welcome. Thanks for coming into the show again. Please tell me where you're coming in from if you're willing to share that information. Brandy J, may have already called out Brandy J, but I can't remember if we did or not. I got old age. Angela K, yo, welcome to the show. Yo, welcome to the show. That sounds pretty cool. I like that. 1111, thank you so much. 1111, by the way, behind the scenes has been my personal little cheerleader, helping me when I have those emotional days like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. And she's like, you can totally do it, DA. You're a strong-willed human being. Anyway, so 1111 behind the scenes. Thanks for the emotional support of the backside. It's pretty funny, and I appreciate it a lot. So Nicole Sears in the house. Hello, Lee. Hey, Lee. Hello, how are you? Watching from Brooksville, Florida. Very cool. We've got several Florida people in here as well. And what else do we have? Just saying hi to some people before we get officially rolling on the train here. Is that it? I'm scrolling to the bottom. That's the thing. When I do this, I tend to have people getting in. Estes Crime Maze, by the way, just signed in backstage. So Amanda B, arts graphics support on our channel. She's here in the house saying, sorry, I'm late. You don't ever have to be sorry. You drop in when you drop in. It's all good. Thanks for being here. Appreciate that very much. And Brandy J, we got that. Brandy J sent a message to Amanda B. Why am I focusing on that on screen? Maybe that's personal between the two of you. If it's personal, you shouldn't have put it in the main chat, though, I guess, right? Anyways, what else do we got? People saying hi to State of the Deep, right? Amanda says hi to the State of the Deep backstage. Yeah, Joe's backstage from State of the Deep. Got, again, Estes Crime Maze backstage as well. Joe P. Lee, I sent you an email tonight. I think I got that. I may have even responded to it just saying, hey, I'm about to go live. I'll have to respond more later. So I think we're caught up. All right, so Robin, and let's go ahead and we're going to bring everybody on stage, and then I'm going to go around the room and say how you guys are doing and talk to you one at a time, and then we will get into the official show notes. So Robin and I, we already bounced a little things off there. Robin is going to pay more attention to the chat. She's got new superpowers, and I'm going to hide the comment that's on screen. So the next time a comment gets up, hopefully Robin will throw it up on screen for me to pay attention to, and I can focus staring into all your lovely faces. I love eye contact. Make eye contact with me. Thank you. All right. So, how was your day today? You've been busy today, I know, and I swear you are. You make a joke about being a vampire. You must be a vampire. I swear you never freaking sleep. How you doing?
I'm great. Hello, Dan. Hi, JJ. Hi, Etsy. Hi, Robin. How is everyone doing? It's a great night to be here in the den. I got my Hella cigar. Got to have a cigar going. I'm happy to see my favorite PSYOP friends here. Yeah. I might be planning something.
He's looking around. What are you talking about? Are you talking about me?
Lots of information coming out with involving Dylan and Bethany and all kinds of stuff going on. I guess. Well, we'll talk about some of it, I guess, after all the introductions.
For sure. Yeah, and I'll save a little segue about that in just a moment. Yeah. Jason Estes, tell us a little bit about how your day is going. You were on yesterday. How has things gone since then?
You've given me nightmares, devil's advocates, but in a good way, if that makes any sense. I'm loving this journey with all of you on here, trying to provide truth and transparency and some interesting speculation, of course, on these titillating and tantalizing cases. And we are doing the revealing ourselves, aren't we?
Very good. By the way, Jason, you might be coming just a little hot on your microphone. If there's a way to adjust it. No, that's okay. It's okay. I noticed. It's funny. I didn't notice it yesterday, but people were saying, "Hey, Jason, you're a little loud," and I was like, "I never noticed it." But just now, with your fantastic delivery and your enthusiasm, I was like, "Oh, I see where the volume's coming through." I don't know if
too turbocharged. Do I stand a little bit away from the mic, or
I don't know. I think. In the gear, if you're on StreamYard, in the gear icon, you can click on that and you can adjust your mic level. And so maybe just pull the slider down a little bit. Yeah. All right. In the meantime, let's go ahead and talk to Joe from State of the Deep. How you doing, Joe?
I'm great. What's up, Dan? What's up, 11? What's up, Estes Crime Maze? DA, good to see you again. Hi, Robin.
Hello.
All right, so let's talk a little bit for those who are not familiar with this new format on my well, first of all, let's talk about my channel a little bit. We'll talk about my format. We'll talk about my slides. Shit, do I have slides to show on screen? I think I do. So let me talk about the channel first before I put any slides up. So Devil's Advocates, the whole theme behind playing Devil's Advocates is to take mainstream media's narrative and play Devil's Advocates with the story. What if it didn't happen that way? Now, I don't do that with every single thing in the news, but I'm focusing on true crime. I have a huge focus on the presumption of innocence until proven guilty, and it drives me nuts when mainstream media tells us this is the killer and the guy hasn't even had day one in jail, or when they put out the fourth or the fifth documentary saying this is what the killer did that night, and the killer did this and the killer did this, again, before he ever steps into the courthouse. So when that tends to happen, I start playing devil's advocates. What if the guy wasn't, what if for Pete's sake, the guy actually was presumed innocent until proven guilty? You've already got him proven guilty before he steps into the courtroom. What if he was actually presumed innocent? Could you say blatantly the killer did this and the killer did this when he hasn't been, or she hasn't been proven to be the killer? So I get a little irritated. That's what my shtick is. That's what my thing is. I am big on breaking down legal documents and teaching people what the legal documents mean, supporting the U.S. Constitution. Yes, even the accused have constitutional rights, and you should be very supportive of the accused rights, because someday, if they ever come after you, no one's going to give a shit when you say you're not guilty, because they'll be like, nope, sorry, in this world, if you're accused of something, you're going down. We really don't want to hear about your story. So I hope you never get accused of something you didn't do. And if you're one of those pacifists who sit there and basically just think that we can just throw the Constitution out the window if you're accused because you must be guilty, because there are literally, by the way, as a side tangent, I have literally been in a courtroom for jury selection where someone had said, if you've been accused of a crime, of course you're guilty. They don't accuse people of crimes that didn't do it. So, but the fact that you were on trial means you're guilty. You wouldn't be here if there are people who literally think that way in America. If you've been accused of something and have been arrested, you are guilty. They wouldn't have arrested you if you weren't guilty. So it's a sad thing in my little world that we have people like that. And I will spend an inordinate amount of time trying to bust your nuts and wake and slap the shit out of you and say, wake up. Being accused of something does not make you guilty and make them have to prove it in a court of law. And we have a system that should weigh in favor of the defense, and the burden of proof is on the prosecution for a reason, so that they don't just go after people and throw them away because they don't like you, and all they have to do is accuse you of something. All right, that was a personal rant that went way fucking long. Let me see. Oh yeah, and I do say a lot of swear words. You probably should know that by now, and that's why we have the parental advisor in the corner. I'm going to do my best to get myself discombobulated and pull up a slide on screen. So I'm going to first find out what the hell is on screen. It's this. Then I'm going to add to the stage. Oh, no! I told you I was discombobulated. What a day I'm having. I tell you what, this day started bad and got worse progressively throughout the day, if that's even humanly possible.
Yeah, my uncle, a marathon runner, he would say to you, DA, it's not how you start out, right? It's how you finish. But anyway, it'll get better.
And I'm seriously
that could be true for many things.
I'm not finishing well either.
So true.
What are you trying to say, sir?
Guys, parental advisory. Explicit content.
Oh my God.
The devil is in the details.
This is I'm definitely cultivating my type of crowd, I'll tell you that right now. Let's see here. Let's go here. So there is my cool slide. Do we have the right slide? We have the right slide. This Amanda B in the house, by the way, has made these beautiful graphics for us. The devil theme and the little imp theme isn't because I'm evil. It's because it kind of goes along with the devil's advocates. I thought it was cool. I like the dark look. I like the flames, but it doesn't mean anything like I'm evil. So relax. And I want to talk a little bit about the cases that we've got. And then again, normally I would have a full show lined up with something on each one of the 5 stories that I cover. I'm going to tell you what the 5 cases I cover are here in a moment. So let me get into this. First of all, again, we're going to try to do these nightly lives. If we've got I just found out tonight, Robin's got permissions to act on my behalf. So if for some reason I can't make it, Robin can fire up the live and get it going on time, and then apologize that I didn't make it. If for some reason I get hit by a truck and I can't make it, the show will go on, hopefully. Coming up, Idaho 4. Now, I want to talk about something about the Idaho 4. We're getting ahead of the cases because Idaho 4 is one of the cases I cover, but I want to mention this. The Idaho 4 anniversary tour is what I'm calling the fact that Joe and I from State of the Deep are going to go to Moscow, Idaho. We're going to spend a couple days there. But it dawned on me, somebody shared something in my personal Discord, and it just gave me a moment to pause for us to get our head straight on this. And that is, it was from the Gonzalez family. Somebody claimed that they are part of the Gonzalez family's website that is a pay site. Now, we'll put that aside for just a moment, that you have to pay to be on the Gonzalez family page. But if you're on the Gonzalez family page, they had a huge appeal to people to say, one, we do not support the latest movie on Idaho 4 coming out and making our daughter Kaylee into a slasher film subject matter. It disgusts us that Kaylee is being featured in a slasher film. This is our family, for fuck's sake. Leave us alone. We're grieving. And as November 12th, 13th approaches. Our chests are tightening. We're reliving everything again. It's an anniversary. And it dawned on me that there's a certain level of uncomfortableness, right? That I'm going to show up on the streets of Moscow, Idaho during this anniversary time, because as I'm sure for a lot of people, this is very, very traumatic. I will tell you this. I'm not going to go bang down someone's doors. I'm not going to get in some family member's face. I'm not going to cause people trauma. And I'm well aware that this is going to be a sensitive issue. And this is the dichotomy in America behind the idea that you can't just expect the entire world not to talk about one of the biggest cases that has ever hit the country. Certainly one of the biggest cases that ever hit Idaho, but potentially one of the biggest cases that's ever hit the country, with the amount of speculation and things that have happened in this case. Just expect everybody to be quiet about it and stop talking about it because it might make somebody uncomfortable. It's not realistic. People are going to talk about this for decades. By the same token, we need to be respectful and realize that this is going to be every anniversary of this crime for a while is going to be difficult on people who are close to it. So I just want to say that I'm well aware. I'm not one of those assholes that's going to try to cause people grief, be insensitive to the fact this is a tough time. What I'm going to be doing, what Joe and I are going to be doing, we're going to do in a respectful way. I think you're going to see that. There's not going to be any harassment of anyone, any bullshit like that. So please don't link me into any of those other type of YouTubers or creators or TikTokers who go put a camera in front of someone's face and harasses a family. That's not the shit you're going to see from us. So enough of that rant for the moment. But it is a sobering reminder that for this family, this time of year has got to be a very difficult thing. All right. So my cases, again, we talk about Bryan Kohberger, the Idaho 4 case. Again, I want to encourage audience participation. So if you're in the audience and you have a question, you want to talk about some things, this is a great time to do it. We have a panel assembled. We've got one who's law enforcement, not, Idaho law enforcement, but law enforcement. He's got a perspective. If you got questions about how the law works, how an investigation should work, how a crime scene should be processed, things like this, that'd be a kind of thing that he can at least shed some insights on. Maybe not be able to tell you the differences on every single jurisdiction and all those things like that, because things are different state to state, precinct to precinct, all those things. But it's a great opportunity to have that kind of question answered. Joe from State of the Deep, he's kind of a specialist. He and I, we have a big focus, especially him, on the deep state, the political angles, the banking industry, the conspiracy type industries, the families that run everything, the elites, all of these things, and how money oftentimes is follow the money on these things. So, and when you're talking true crime, oftentimes you get into a little bit of political banking, all kinds of shit that involves with that. Joe is great at that. So he's a great resource. Estes Crime Maze, we jokingly now refer to Estes Crime Maze as everything is an extraction removal process. It's a cover up. It didn't really happen. It's a psyop, but that's just because there's several major cases where he thinks that there's good evidence to suggest that these things didn't really happen at all, or certainly didn't happen the way that they say they did. And even I am on board with some of these things did not happen the way that they say they did. But anyway, so he's kind of almost kind of like that. If on the more extreme, like, hey, maybe nobody actually died in Idaho 4. Maybe everybody is in WITSEC protection. Maybe the whole thing's a giant psyop, whatever. So he's great at showing that. So I think we've got a great panel. Robin is here more for the producer side of the house, make sure things run smoothly, make sure people are behaving themselves, moderation and stuff like that. We've got other moderators as well. So that's the panel. That's the panel that you got in front of us. So,
Robin is great for bringing sanity to this amazing show.
Right. So
you don't know me very well yet.
No, I guess not.
Let's talk about Bryan Kohberger. Now, I think I've got a slide about Bryan Kohberger. Actually, what I've got, and let me pull this up on screen. I'm just going to put all of us on screen for a minute. What I've got is a video that I haven't even been able to see. So let me start with this. I'm getting irritated with the fact that Bryan Kohberger has pled guilty to this case, and yet, well after he's pled guilty, after 3 years of this trial or this fiasco, we still have more questions than answers. We still have redacted documents where things are being blacked out and you still can't know what really happened. You have new documents dropping, which contradict things you've heard for 3 years. You have interviews that should have been shown 3 years ago, just being shown now, that are raising new questions. And it's driving me insane that they continue to leak slowly, like a death by 1,000 cuts on a case that they're telling us is over. And then every time they release something new, it's like, why the fuck didn't we hear that 3 years ago? Like, it's driving me up the wall. Now, along that lines, I'm going to let 1-1 take the lead here in a minute, because I don't know how he does it. I really don't know how he does it. But somehow 1-1 has seen multiple interviews that I have not even had a chance to look at, like the interview with Bethany that Atlanta and Truth and Transparency featured. I think he's even got, I've got that video queued up so we can do a time marker that he gave me. We can pull it up, but go ahead and tell me about the latest interviews and videos you've watched that are being released now, and what some of your thoughts are on that. 1-1.
So they had, they came out with more stuff on Bethany and Dylan. One of the big things with Dylan, and we talk about it almost on a nightly basis. It seems every time she does an interview, she constantly contradicts herself, or it tells another. It just makes no sense with some of the nonsense that she says. So one of the things that came out recently, and the most updated interview that came out. So they're basically questioning her about kind of her behavior, like, or her behavior, and like, what exactly did she do? Okay, she sees someone with a mask, all in black. What were her actions, right? From that moment, the best that she can remember. She probably says multiple times, I'm not really sure, and keep in mind, this interview was like, I believe it was only like a few days, maybe less than a week after the incident happened. So it's definitely possible people can be in still a high state of trauma. They might not remember everything. That's definitely true. I won't take that away from her. But she basically, so she's describing everything, and they get to ask her, okay, so you see someone in a mask. She runs, she goes to the bedroom. She's texting Bethany. Actually, she tries to. So one of the things that is highly odd, that there should have been a follow-up question. She made this big thing about saying that she hears Kaylee going upstairs, right? Or with Murphy, something, and that whole thing, or someone's here to help you, or whatever she says. So she makes this whole statement about Kaylee, but why is it that after she sees the mask, the phantom person in the black, the first person that she goes to text is Xana? Like, there should have been a follow-up question there from, the police dropped the ball there. Like, didn't you say you heard Kaylee crying? Are you sure?
Yeah.
And I believe in one of the interviews, somewhat like it was asked of her, are you sure? Was it Xana or Kaylee, whatever? And not in this particular interview that was out. There was no follow-up question. So she hears Kaylee crying, and she's almost positive it's Kaylee that went running down the stairs or whatnot. Why is she texting Xana? So that makes no sense. What they get at, so there's a few things. So she says she goes back to the room, and at first she says, Bethany came, finally came down to her, and they fall asleep. They go to bed. Well, we know obviously that's not true. Again, this interview is only a few days later, so the police, the detectives running the interview, they don't know probably at that time, the Dylan's, the results of her, that she was texting and she was up and all that. So they're not aware of that, which is understandable. But they're kind of asking some follow-up questions, but not enough. I don't know if they were just they were afraid, or again, just the inexperience. Yeah, she may be just somewhat, a surviving victim of an incident. You still can ask a question in a way that's not like you're not accusing that they're involved, but you need to get to answers. You're not going to get to answers if you don't ask follow-up questions. So
I'm curious about this. Like, and it seemed to me Dylan was interviewed by multiple agencies. So when we're talking about her second and third interview, was it Moscow Police Department that interviewed this new one that you're watching, or was it Idaho State Police? What agency was interviewed?
In this one that was just released, I'm actually I'm not sure. Okay, I don't remember. I should have wrote that down. I didn't write down who did this. Well, yeah, you're right. There was multiple different agencies, but this particular point. So she's goes to bed with Bethany. She did it. They're laying there, and then they're kind of talking about some other timeline events. And then they ask another, another question. They're like, "Oh, is there anything else you can tell us? Do you remember anything at all? But try not to be something that you think, like, because she kept going to this thing. I'm not sure really what happened. I can't remember. But then when she's talking about, she's like, oh, you know what? I do remember something that happened. And then it's sometimes someone can ask a question and maybe it triggers a memory. It's possible. But she just said, well, we went to bed at 4:00 and that was it. Then she goes, oh, by the way, after and this is a pretty big bombshell kind of thing. She says, so I went into the bedroom and I looked out the window. I'm like, okay, what did you see out the window? And she said, well, I saw a black SUV. I saw a black truck. And the detectives are like, what? You could almost picture their face, like they're, like they just, a bomb just went off. So she saw a black SUV. She's like, oh, well, I didn't see it stop, but it drove by. I think that's pretty big bombshell information. Yeah. If you see you saw a black truck out the window when this individual that's possibly, you don't know, you don't know, based on what she said, you don't know what's going on really at that point, what this guy was doing, but you were scared enough to go back to your bedroom and you're texting everyone, you're trying to call everyone, you look out the window, you see a black truck. I would say that's pretty big info. That's probably almost more important than anything with a white Elantra. Is a black truck that's now placed at the scene right after this person in black is seen leaving the house. That's pretty big info. So I don't know.
They didn't ask follow-on questions or probing questions about it. I mean, even though you say that they showed some reaction to her statement.
Well, they didn't show you. You didn't. They didn't. You couldn't see the detect. It was just audio. Okay. You couldn't. There's You couldn't. But you could hear from. I believe it was a female detective. I think Vicky something is her name. You could hear the gasp in her voice. She was like, wait. She was like, wait, this, what, are you talking about right after you saw the guy in black, you looked out the window? And she's like, yeah. Right after I went to, before I went to bed, I looked out the window and I saw a black truck. It's pretty important info. It's funny that we hear about this now. Where was this, 2.5 years ago? Everything is like white Elantra. Everything about a white Elantra.
I feel like too, like some people are probably wondering, why are you still talking about this? Like, this is old news. But yet it's not in ways too. And I do want to say that just reading the documents, when I broke down and I was reading all of the MPD documents, and then I started to break down the Idaho documents, I will say I detected a difference in the types of questions and the questioning of the survivors' stories between MPD and Idaho. Idaho seemed to be more critical of Dylan and seemed to be like, is there something you're not telling us? Why did you say that we won't find DNA from the suspect in the house because it's been cleaned up when you supposedly cleaned up before? Like they seem to be more critical, whereas MPD almost led Dylan to the answers that they wanted. So did you see a guy with bushy eyebrows? Was he wearing a balaclava like this one? Like, it's like,
Right.
I felt like there was a difference for me when I was watching and reading the documents, that Idaho and Moscow Police Department didn't even have the same types of it's almost like MPD didn't want to question the story so much, and Idaho came in with the fresh eyes and were like, this doesn't make a lot of sense. But maybe I'm the only one that kind of felt that way about that.
And then I got another kind of, well, sort of not a bombshell thing, but this is a pretty big thing. I mean, I'm sure JJ and Etsy and Robin as well. Looking at like evaluating all these different homicides and crimes and whatever go on. A big way of evaluating, the accuracy or the truth of someone is really evaluating their behavior. So people can say a lot of different statements, or maybe they kind of change, they remember something a little different. Again, people can be the victims of trauma. Sometimes something will trigger a memory. That is true. But the big thing with a lot of this stuff, and this goes to how many ways that the FBI profilers and those kind of experts, how they solve many cases other than having video camera or witnesses or confidential informants, it's evaluating behavior of individuals. Not only their body language, but their actual behavior. So one of the things brought up in this interview, again, I don't know, you could see like that the female detective, like she was right there. She had it at the tip of her tongue. Again, maybe she didn't want to seem that she was coming at Dylan, like she's accusing her of lying or to that extent, but she was right there. She just didn't ask the follow-up question. So there goes along this whole thing. They're talking to Dylan about was there any former stalker, or does anyone have anything against any of the individuals that were hurt, or anyone in the house? And she goes through again. She talks about how one of the time, like a month ago. So remember, like this. So this is the mid-November. A few days after the atrocity. Kaylee was outside in the back with Murphy. So one bit of info. So Murphy was not usually put on a leash. She actually used a shock collar. So I know there was some things brought up in the past where people like, oh, Murphy would, run away, maybe he ran away or got out. He's not going to run away. If he's on a shock collar, that would bring him back pretty quick. I have one.
Before we get too far, did either you, Jason, or Joe, did you either one of you watch the video that he's talking about, or the interview with Dylan, the second interview with Dylan, or did you
the one we discussed yesterday?
I think
Dylan interview.
I don't know if it's the one. It might be. I'm not sure.
Is it the
I
one
think you
with
guys are
Gooch?
referring to past interviews before the recent one, aren't you?
Yeah. No. Well, this was there was only audio. There was only audio on this one.
And it with the one where she talks about how, you might not be able to find any DNA because we cleaned the house on Friday.
I read that in the court documents. I haven't heard the audio of that one, so I'm not sure if that's what
I
that's what I'm saying.
I
I haven't had time to watch this.
Yeah. but this other point, I'll bring it up quick. So what she's asked about is she's asked about, is there any other prior thing? So she mentions Kaylee with the dog, and then she talks about one of the times Kaylee went out, and I believe Maddie was in the car. Kaylee went inside shopping, and she says that someone of dark complexion is following her, didn't buy anything, and like followed her to the car. But that was like the last. They didn't do any police report or anything. That was like the last of it. So
no, there was no interrogation of any of the two surviving victims when they interviewed them, as you know, Woon Woon. It was like somebody else said this, I believe, too. It was like it was an interview. It was like, I'm interviewing you for basically work or something. It wasn't they should be interrogating the two. That's crazy.
Right. Well, this interview this one that they just released was a little bit better than some of the prior ones, but again,
but that's only audio, right?
Yeah.
Excuse me, that wasn't on camera.
No,
I'm saying the ones on they were on camera. They especially on camera. It should be like an interrogation.
Yes,
you have two survive. Right? You agree?
Yes,
and they didn't treat it like that. So it goes to show. No, there's a reason for that.
But yeah, so this point I want to make, this little thing is, so they're talking about, is there anything, that was strange? She talks about those two incidents. And then she says, well, there was, about a few weeks ago, and this goes to what I believe was it Xana's father, right? That worked on that came to fix the door, something with the door. I think it was Xana.
Yeah, it was Xana's.
Okay, so why that happened is that they all went out. All of them were out like partying or whatever, and they came back, and she said that it was like snowing and windy, and the door, like the front door, so not the sliding glass door, I guess the other side of the house, the door was like partially opened. Okay, so now this is the point that I want to make. This is why you have to analyze people's behavior and like really listen when people tell you stuff. So she said, well, they weren't sure. They thought that someone may have broken into the house. So what did she do? What did they do? They knew that Ethan had a bunch of golf clubs in in his room. So they went to go grab the golf clubs, and I believe they even made a video of this. I believe you can probably find it on TikTok or whatnot. And they proceeded to go around the house checking to make sure. And wound up no one was in there. Nothing. They didn't make a report or anything. No one was missing anything. So they felt that it was just due to the wind or whatnot. The door was just messed up. Now, why is this an important point? Because now you go to the night of the homicide, and how was the behavior of Dylan in that? You're listening to her story. Okay, so she sees a masked person. She doesn't know that anyone is dead, right, at that point, based on her story. So she says she goes into her bedroom, and this person saw her and they left. Well, that's not, it's a different day, it's a different time. Yes, and now she's actually seeing someone in the house. But just prior, a week or two before, they thought that someone might be in the house, and she went to go grab golf clubs, and she's going around the house. So my point, why it's a big deal, she says that, you see all this evidence, phone evidence that she's texting Xana, she's texting Maddie, Kaylee, all the roommates. She doesn't, they're not answering, obviously, because they whatever, they know they're not alive. Where is the same behavior of, these are your friends, these are your roommates, you're not going to go around the house in front, her behavior doesn't match what she did previously.
Here's the thing, like, I don't want to, I hope this doesn't come out the wrong way, but here's the thing. What I'm not hearing is anything that's changed. Like all we're hearing is the same questions we've had for 3 years. Like, did anything in that video come out that bombshelled changed what because like all of those questions are the questions we've been asking for years.
Oh yeah.
Like, and I'm trying to decide, like, if this is a new bombshell video, what is the gist of what changed that we didn't know already, which is all the same questions. Why did you act this way?
No, it's mostly the same. The big thing, the major bombshell that I heard from the interview with Dylan was that black truck. That's huge to me.
I would say that was interesting. I mean, I wished I had heard it myself, especially if you can detect at all that there was a audible gasp or a response by the, even if it's audible, if you can tell that there was a reaction to the, oh yeah, I looked outside and there was a black truck outside. I mean, I would like to hear that myself. You had told me that there was, and I hope I don't misunderstand this. There was an interview of Bethany, which is one of the people we don't hear a lot. We've heard a million things about Dylan and all about Dylan's story, but Bethany took off early and never came back. It seemed like, or she did. She came back clandestinely and didn't tell anybody she was back in town and left again before anybody figured it out. There's an interview supposedly that I think that Bethany mentions something about Showalter, and I think you sent me the time thing. I'm going to try to pull that up if you think it's going to merit some fruit. Let me pull it up here real quick.
Can I jump in real quick?
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
I thought, to me, like I had said yesterday, that something that jumped out at me was Dylan's reaction when the DNA issue came up. Again, it's not always what people say, it's how they say it.
Yes.
And when she said, the way she responded, at least what I picked up on, was like, oh shit, they were able to collect DNA. Like, she seemed like it was a notable thing to her. And I thought that was interesting because, obviously you go by your gut instincts and you go by what you perceive someone's reaction to mean. But if someone's totally innocent and ignorant to everything that happened, they wouldn't act surprised and almost like concerned that they were able to collect DNA from the scene.
Right.
I mean,
like,
it's just,
you were able to get DNA. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just think that, and just the whole nature of it. And I believe she also mentioned the incident where the guy punched Xana in the stomach. And I think they were referring to one of the frat guys in the interview that I listened to.
Showalter, I think, was the implication that kicked somebody.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. If it's what I'm thinking, it's referring, I believe, to Showalter.
Yeah, because she said, "Oh, he hunts." Like she said something like that.
That's discussion on Showalter. Yeah,
right.
And that's what I'm going to pull up.
And just to piggyback off you for real quick with what you're saying, when she made the comment about the DNA, she also very quickly alluded with exactly with what you said. It was how she said it. I believe she also then said, oh, by the way, there was also a big party on that Friday night and a lot of people were over. So she's like, there'll be a lot. She said something like, there's probably going to be a lot of DNA,
By the way, I have to say this. This is just, I'm glad you said this. There were several times in interviews that I've seen where the phrase, oh, and by the way, and my skeptical mind says this is somebody who's telling a story and they forgot there's a detail they're supposed to add. Oh, by the way, there was this too. It's like, oh shit! Make sure when you tell this story, you mention this, and so that comes out in their repeating of the story as, oh, by the way, there was this thing too, because they almost forgot to add a detail that they were supposed to add. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what.
Well, I said that also yesterday, that whenever somebody keeps adding details that are inconsequential to the thing that you're actually being questioned about, to me, that's a way to sort of redirect things and to kind of prevaricate away from answering the actual question or getting to the actual point. And what I recalled again, it could just be the way I'm remembering it, that Dylan said, I don't know if you'll be able to find any DNA because we had a party on Friday, so we did a
Yeah.
really thorough cleaning on
Oh,
after.
deep.
Yeah, deep cleaning after the
She
party.
said they used it. They did a deep clean.
Right.
Yeah, and that was an Idaho State investigation. That was a Idaho State Police investigation. When that came out, I about lost my lid. I had a video on it, and I said, "Listen, listen to what even the detectives are like. What the fuck you mean you cleaned up? How's that relevant to anything in the first place?" Like she's like, "Oh, I'd be surprised you find DNA," and they're kind of like, and after that, the detectives were like, "Is there something you're not telling us?" Because you could see it, you could read it, and I could hear it when I'm reading I don't even know how I'm trying to explain this. It was palpable. You can tell the detectives were like, what the fuck with that? Why would you even mention having cleaned up the crime scene? And are you like, are you kidding me? Are you not telling us something? And I made a big deal out of it. And then of course that was the only video I made about it. But I'm like, that's a huge deal for her to do. Oh, I'd be surprised you find DNA. We cleaned up. And he's just like, well, wait a minute. When did you clean up?
And
Well,
also the word. And
DA,
also the words that she used. Who speaks that way? Who when you I don't remember in my entire life ever talking to someone who says I never remember hearing that term from anyone in all different ages say, "Oh, I did a deep clean." Like no one really talks that way.
Why would you say that? You wouldn't.
I know why. Because there was no crime scene. What if that was the case?
Of course.
Can I listen to jump in on this? I don't want to derail this, but DA, come on. People want to talk about this case. So what I'm going to propose and throw it out to you guys, now that we've had more things get released, more documents, more videos, etc., interviews, I'd like to hear everybody's latest theory. We know what Estes Crime Maze believes, but maybe he has some explanations to tack on top of why things were happening the way they did and carried out the way they were carried out. But if everybody, it's up to you, DA, if you want to take the time to give their most prominent updated theory.
Everybody by meaning everybody on the panel or everybody in the chat?
Well, and anybody in the chat too, but just to give their what they believe based on where they're at right now, after all this time and all the information that's come out, whatever their most prominent updated theory is.
I would be happy to do that, but do I go first or last or in the middle?
Well, whatever you want. You're the king of the castle here, so you decide.
All right, I'll go first, and then we'll do Robin, we'll do 1-1, we'll do Estes, we'll do you last. How about that? So
that's fine. Whatever you guys want to do.
Yeah, you guys are gonna get tired of it. You hear me beating a drum. I feel like I'm still kind of where and it's not going to make people happy. They're not going to like this because I know a lot of people believe 100% Brian Kohberger didn't have anything to do with it. I still maintain my, unfortunately, the same premise I had from the very beginning. What if Brian Kohberger was the getaway driver? I think Brian Kohberger had some culpability in this. I don't know to what extent. I've maintained all along through this entire thing, if Kohberger's involved, he didn't do it alone. It did not happen the way that he said it did. I believe there was something to the belief that hey, has anybody else been picked up on it, because he knows he wasn't alone. Now that I've seen more documents, I'm convinced the MPD believed that there was more than one suspect that did the killings. So they were looking for two people. All along, I believed it's more than one perpetrator. That is possible. Kohberger is one of them. And so at the end of the day, I think what happened is one of the suspects is no longer able to be gone after because they're dead or whatever, and they're only left with one guy. And so they decided to make the best case they can against one guy and tell everybody it's one guy and have him plead that he was acting alone and put a bow on it. So that's the summary of my position today. Brian Kohberger probably has some culpability in the thing. I'm not sure he did it. I'm not sure he went in and did it alone. I'm certain he didn't do it alone. If he did it at all, he may have just been the driver of the car. But and I think that this case was ramrodded down his throat to convict him because they knew he was involved in somehow, and he's the only guy they had left to go after. So that's me. Robin, do you have your favorite pet theory on the Idaho 4?
I believe in the perfect storm, meaning that I don't believe that it's any one faction that's involved here. I think that Dylan is in it up to her eyeballs because of her boyfriend, Quinn Kelly, who has drug ties. His father does. So there you enter the cartel. Several of the parents, they're in that, but also there's the frat angle because drugs are run through university, and we know that Ethan pissed off certain people over there for various reasons. Hudson Ludlow, one of them. There's a good possibility that he knew what happened there. So I think it can be, like I said, a perfect storm where um, there's more than one reason, and everyone decided that it was time that all four of them get taken out to solve everybody's problem.
All right. And how about you, 1-1? I mean, this ought to be interesting. A law enforcement perspective. What does your gut tell you in law enforcement on what your best guess is?
I kind of have a hybrid between sort of the two of you. I'm also in the favor of, I believe Kopaka was definitely involved in this. Nothing, 100%, but there's enough evidence that things that were done. I do think they had Kohlberger's name. We know they had his name before. Whatever happened with Kopaka happened. I believe he was probably the main culprit. I do think Kohlberger had some involvement, but where I'm kind of still, I could go either way with Kohlberger. I could see that. I do think that he's the one that drove Kopaka there. I think he had a relationship with him. Kopaka's phone was wiped. If that's not a red flag, they don't want us to know the connection between Kohlberger and Kopaka. They are both from Pennsylvania. I believe you proved it kind of pretty much in the video that you made recently that showed the connection. So I think Kohlberger drove him there. Now, with going along with what Robin said, I do think that there is some kind of drug cartel connection as well. Quinn has a connection there. That's Dylan's boyfriend, and I don't know necessarily that she lured anyone or whatnot, but I think that's probably why she wasn't touched. Nothing happened to her. I mean, you tell me what kind of hit goes on where you basically like arguing against yourself. You'd be like, okay, Xana got she went up, she heard a noise and she saw that something was going on with Kaylee and Maddie. Okay, and then the killer saw Xana, chases her down, kills Ethan. Okay, so if you're gonna go by that, why would Dylan be left alive? So I do think the killer, whether it's Quinn or not Quinn, or it's somehow some way related to Quinn, and they probably told her, you're going to go by this story and you're not going to say anything else because I'm not going to be able you were able to be kept alive because of your connection with me. And if they stray anyway from that story, and this is why Bethany is probably ran for the hills, ran away. With that in mind, I could also see kind of that Kohlberger, I still believe he drove Kopaka, but Kohlberger was going for his PhD, and it is a known fact the FBI, CIA, these groups, they go for the elite of the elite. Kohlberger was going for criminal justice. I could see that he merely was just some kind of asset, or he was involved with the FBI, and he was trying to figure out what was going on. Did drive Kopaka there, trying to get his intelligence or whatever he was doing. and had no idea, you know, what was going on. And the question is like, what does that have to do with Kopaka? Why was he over there? Well,
Right.
you don't know. Maybe that's the unknown that we don't know. Maybe someone higher up the chain, whether you know, Sid Quinn's father, right, has some kind of connection to the Aryan Nation, or if it's Quinn himself. Maybe so they had something, maybe whatever it was that they wanted to go get Kaylee or Xana or whatever it was. They made the call to Kopaka because he's the guy that could take action. So
right. And I want to be clear too, like for all of our theories, I think even when you have kind of like a summary position, there's elements of others that could creep in. Because again, you know, I'm going to be brief before we get to Jason Estes and Joe's summaries of what they think's happened, because I want to hear them as well. But you know, even in my scenario, it starts with, what if Koberger brought somebody to the house and someone like a Brent Kopaka went in and did it? Because that's, again, also my theory. But then you add in, what if also there was an officer sleeping with one of the victims in the house and they wanted to cover that up? And then there's also the money angle of, this is going to be a huge blow to the university, who now has to explain why they have a drug problem on the thing or whatever the case may be. And so it starts to compound upon itself. So you can't address all of the things that we possibly believe that so Estes crime maze. What is your gut feeling about, you know, your most likely what happened in the Idaho 4 today?
Well, before I first directly try to answer that, I agree with all of you and what you just said, DA, following with what Robin said, yourself, and I know Joe hasn't gone yet. I think there was a drug angle, like you guys said, and that obviously somebody, gang bangers and or cartel members, probably, it looks like, had it out for one or more, unfortunately, those students. But as I've always said, and I'll stay to it, that there's no evidence that a crime actually took place. I think it was all staged. And I think because the students were targeted, the U.S. Marshals obviously would have done their due diligence. The surveillance was all around the house, as we know. And they simply came in and they did an extraction removal operation under the cover of darkness. You had a huge operation out front, and that's the real true story of this case. And the students will be protected, as you guys know, now the USC Code 31 WITSEC program. And it was a big psyop. You know, they manipulated our perceptions, as you know, from day one on this case. That's why everybody's been trying to figure out, you guys sort of mentioned it earlier, about why would you have two roommates that were alive? And woo-woo, I think you know, when you really think about it, gang bangers, I don't think it's ever happened in history where you have more than one person killed and you're going to leave two roommates alive, even if these roommates had connections with gang bangers. They're not going to leave two roommates alive, I don't believe. But you have some YouTubers saying, you know, oh, well, they intimidate them to not call 911 for 8 hours. And I don't think that's reason, logic, common sense. And I'm glad more and more people seem to sometimes hop on the theory and agree. They can disagree with me, but more people are starting to look at that WITSEC program. I know Joe's at least looked at it. I know you have too, DA, in your own way, and woo-woo as well. And I think I think the students are alive and well, and it's great news. And that's why, again, we didn't see the body bags, no verification of this, no open casket ceremony. I know it sounds wild, but you guys know, reason, logic, common sense. If you have an extraction removal operation, you're never going to have an open casket ceremony. Ethan had a private funeral service, right? And then we're supposed to believe that Kaylee and Madison, these beautiful young students, and Xana, we're supposed to believe that it's just a coincidence that they were cremated. And I don't believe that. I'll never believe the coroner, Kathy Mabbitt. She's an interesting lady, but, and on we go. I'll save the rest for my live tomorrow. Sorry, go ahead, DA.
Yeah, I don't want to shoot down your theory. I only want to play a devil's advocate with one statement about the open casket, which is that, at least in the case of Kaylee, and maybe I think it was also Xana, Kaylee's face had been so mutilated, they said, that she was unrecognizable and an officer couldn't even tell what he was looking at. That's how bad it was. I think potentially Xana also had facial stab wounds as well. If that's the case, one might say that's a reason for not an open casket. You just can't reconstruct a face that's been slashed up to pieces. I mean, I hate to be brutal and whatever, but that would be my only. But I agree with you. There were some early cremations in that thing that you're just like, what the fuck? Like, how do you tear the house down, cremate all the bodies, and not let anybody see anything, and then not expect that there's going to be questions? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
that would be my only
I think
devil's
we have
advocate
to keep
position
it
to that.
open of the Whitsick angle. You know, the federal
Yeah.
witness security program, re-identification program in the United States, or what do you call it? For my mind's gone blank. You know, for witnesses, I'm saying it right, but there's another term. Witness protection. Yeah, witness protection program. Right. So
All right.
that's
Well,
a real thing, folks. Yeah,
let's give Joe, who posed this whole idea of everybody saying, let's give a thing. Let's give Joe his time to talk about what your current theory is, what you're thinking today.
Okay. Well, I've had a lot of different theories since this case first started, and I've speculated on a lot of different things. So this is speculation. I'm going to give some caveats because I have to suss out based on some information that you guys may know. Is it possible, first and foremost, that there was another roommate living in that house that was the one that was pulled out by Whitsick? And that is why that they never wanted that to come out to the public, that there was another an additional roommate that we never were told about, because none of us knew about 1122 King Road before this case. So if there's a possibility that there was another person living there, could have been a potential person that was a CI, and they were taken out of the house. That's just a side thing, just something that popped into my head, which would explain why the marshals were there and et cetera, and why maybe, from what I understand, one of the rooms downstairs was like cleaned out, right? As if like no one was living there. So there's that. I'll put that aside. I have, from day one, felt that there were drugs somehow involved. This was my initial theory that even long before Kohberger was arrested, that somehow drugs were involved, just simply because of what I know about living life and college life and party houses and things like that. I've speculated that someone in that house or someone connected to that house was dealing. That I'm very confident about that. Again, it's just speculation, but I'm very confident about that. I have started to think about things a little bit differently, in the sense that I believe that it's very possible that Kohberger was using, right? He had a history with drugs. He was in a high pressure PhD program, which they're extremely stressful at that level, and that he was using again, and that that house was known to be a drug house. So MPD knew that, and they potentially overlooked it because, maybe they had some closer dealings with some of the people that were involved. And it could be that one of the girls was seeing a cop. It could be that there were people that were getting something, kickbacks or something, to kind of look the other way about it. And as I've thought about the whole Brent Kopacka angle, I've wondered that perhaps him and Kohberger were there to get drugs. This is, again, I'm not 100% on any theory, but this is one that I have thought about quite a bit. And that, so they go there to get drugs, and maybe people are hanging out. Maybe the people in the house knew them from previously dealing with them, and that potentially Kopacka flips out, has an episode, and kills people, and it gets out of hand, and he, for whatever reason, he doesn't do any, he just walks past Dylan and doesn't do anything, or both of them leave, or Koberger maybe is just waiting in the car. That's a possibility. But the reason that I think that's plausible is because if law enforcement was aware of the drug dealing going on there and on a larger scale trafficking, and they were overlooking it, it would give them a reason to cover certain things up. And also the issue with maybe potentially one of the roommates being involved with a local police officer, and then it comes out that they're dealing drugs, that's going to look even worse than him having a relationship with one of them, right? If there's dealing going on from that house, and then, you know, that's even additional reason why you would not want that to get out. So that is a theory that I have after seeing everything, because if someone was dealing, they would have reason to create a story that's inaccurate. They would have reason to clean things up, because if people were doing drugs at the house that night, they would want to get that cleaned up, or things cleared out of the house before they called the police. And it would also facilitate, or necessitate rather, them not giving the straight story about what really happened. So that is, of the many theories that I've had and then I still wrestle with, that is one that I think is highly plausible.
I think you know, to go along with this, the one thing that I want to really reiterate is that at the end of the day, I feel like people should give each other a little grace to entertain some of these theories, because the fact is, to this day, there are more unanswered questions than there are answers, right? We have a lot of problems with the official narrative, and by entertaining all these different options on the table, we can start to try to rule them out. Maybe something has proved to you that Joe's theory can't possibly be true, or something that you've seen has proven to you that Estes crime maze story can't be true, or something that you've seen proves to you Kopacka couldn't have been involved, and therefore my story. But whatever the case may be, entertaining the idea that it's any one of these scenarios will help, hopefully, us get closer and closer to what really happened. And I realize for a good majority, mainstream media and America, we already do have the answers. Why are you guys still talking about it? Brian Koberger admitted guilt to it. He did it alone. That's what he said. Why are you guys still talking about it? So I understand. For those who have questions, I would urge you to not be overly married to your favorite position and keep open-minded still, because I feel like all of these questions are eventually going to break something. Something hopefully will break, because people keep asking questions and won't let it go. But how do you explain that? How do you explain that? How do you explain that? And again, there's a large number of people who just want to let it go. Before I move on to a different case, I do have that Lana's truth and transparency thing come up. Is it, do you think it's a really good, solid clip to play, that part about the Showalter thing, or is it going to be kind of
No, it's just really like a small. No, I mean, you don't really need it. It's just a small little clip. She just, Dylan's just explaining about going to they were at a party, and I guess Showalter has been seen, has had a history of being somewhat violent, and that apparently he need a girl in the stomach. That's what she says.
What bothers me a lot about this whole case, before we move on to the next case, which I want to talk a little bit about Charlie Kirk, Erica Kirk, and that whole thing, based on an interview clip that I want to show that happened, and a little bit about the Tyler Robinson thing that goes along with the alleged shooting of that. And then we'll finish with some open questions and answers for everybody. But one of the things I want to say that I didn't like about this entire case, the interview that you did send me the link through on Truth and Transparency, lists it as being Bethany's second interview with Blaker from Reno, Nevada on 11/16. And it bothers me fundamentally that so quickly the two surviving roommates who were in the house were immediately cleared of having anything to do with it, allowed to leave the state, entirely leave the state, and told, don't worry, Nobody's going to arrest you. You don't have to come back. You don't have to answer any difficult questions. I mean, it's almost like everybody ran for the fucking hills as soon as this happened. Yep. And nobody said, why don't you guys hang around a little bit and don't leave this? Why wasn't the answer, don't go anywhere, don't leave town until we've spent some time doing some investigation? How the hell 3 days later is she already out of the state and in Reno, Nevada, and saying, I don't want to come back because I'm afraid I'm going to be arrested? Oh, that's okay. We'll just do your interview from Reno. Like, everything about that stinks to high heaven to me.
And she had a lawyer too on that interview.
Right. And I will reiterate, because I can, it's my show. Ann Taylor has said Bethany has exculpatory information that would help exonerate Brian Kohberger. And Hippler tried to say, well, you have the right to bring Bethany back. Bethany wasn't coming back. She had full protection. She was not coming back. And that's why they had, in my opinion, that's part of the reason why they had to throw in the towel. Hitler was never going to allow, they were never going to allow the people who actually know it. Bethany knows it did. This is my personal soapbox. Bethany knows it didn't happen the way they said it did. She knows that. And she's been protected this entire fucking time. She was allowed to run from the state. She was allowed to lawyer up immediately. She was allowed to hide behind shit. And they said, don't worry. No one's going to force you to testify. Nobody's going to make you say it. You don't have to go back there, and we'll make sure that never goes to fucking trial. So you never get put on the stand and have to testify or perjure yourself. She just got out of perjury because Ann Taylor would have made her say shit on the stand that would perjure her. And that's my conviction. My conviction is if we had gone to trial, Ann would have put Bethany Funk on the stand, and she would have made her perjure herself, and she would have proven it, and Bethany would be going to jail. And so they hid all that shit, and they got a plea deal. So good for them. And I feel bad because you're going to say you're a piece of shit, DA. Bethany is an innocent little victim, and I get it. But I'm telling you, Ann Taylor had Bethany Funk and Dylan Mortensen on the list of defendants that she was going to call on Brian Kohberger's behalf. She was going to call them as defense witnesses. How is that the case? How are they going to be defense witnesses? Because Ann Taylor knows they saw something that night that she was going to make them perjure themselves on the stand if they lied about it. And she knows that, in my opinion. And she was going to put them on the stand, but that wasn't going to happen. So we just got a plea deal, and it never happened.
If it was a real trial, that's exactly what Ann Taylor would have done. Yeah, I agree. Right?
Wanted to add something in real quick. It was kind of funny to hear. I don't have the timestamp, so maybe tomorrow or another show you could show it. Dylan is asked in this interview, who called 911? And you'll get a kick out of her answer. She can't answer. She can't answer the question. She's like, oh, right. well, we passed the phone, and right. This person, like, just what? How hard is it to answer the question? Who called 911? She couldn't answer the question.
Right.
And by the way, I don't know if you guys find this very interesting. If I may include this, it was on Facebook that somebody said this, not on YouTube, but a mother told me, I'll never forget this. She said, I have two daughters roughly the same age as Kaylee and Madison. She says, I've never had my daughter photobomb me. Remember, Kaylee gave all her photos, apparently, God knows videos maybe too, to her mother. And the day before this incident happened, and with my conspiracy thinking and trying to connect the dots, and others, a lot of people have agreed to this, you wouldn't do that normally unless she knew what was about to transpire. Did Kaylee know, if my theory is correct and others have said it, if the extraction removal operation took place, Kaylee would have known this quite possibly, a little bit of pre-planning on the Fed's part. Maybe Kaylee was one of the confidential informants. We don't know, but that's why she photobombed her mom. I think it's beyond coincidence. I just wanted to put that out there. I don't know if you guys find that interesting or not.
It is certainly interesting, and it's certainly worth talking about. Yeah. Thank you so
I think you got a good point there, because that goes along with what I was saying about evaluating behavior.
Oh yeah, that's right. Evaluating behavior. Yeah.
All right, let's switch gears a little bit. I do cover 5 cases. We did spend the majority of the night on one case as usual, and that's fine. As long as Idaho 4 is the top of your minds, we're going to still talk about it. But I do cover 4 other cases, one of which being what some have argued is probably the biggest case in America right now. And I think that's a tough call on personally for me what the biggest case in America is right now, but one of them is the shooting of Charlie Kirk, the alleged shooter, Tyler Robinson. We just played on last night's live a clip that said, we all know who shot Charlie Kirk. We know who did it. There's an argument that's been made that the taxpayers of Utah don't want to defend Tyler Robinson because it's a waste of taxpayers' money. We know what happened already. We all saw it for ourselves. There's no need for a trial, and we're not going to spend $5 million or $10 million to defend somebody that everyone knows who did it. Yet, I want to bring up a clip for you that really bothered me when I saw it. And it has one of those moments of it's not just what's asked, the question that's asked in this bothers the piss out of me. And it's the answer that is going to keep me up at nights. All right, so let me pull this on screen, full screen for you if I can.
There's one of my favorite people right there, Erica Kirk. Here we go.
Oh, yeah. All right, full screen. Hopefully this has audio. Let's go with this.
Do you think they've caught your husband's killer?
Right there. Did you hear the audio?
Yes, I did.
Did you hear the audio? How the fuck did you just ask that question? Do you think they caught your husband's killer? Just a minute ago, and I realize it's not the same person, but we were told everyone knows Tyler Robinson shot him. There's no question. Entire America knows who did it. How is this guy even asking, Erica, do you think they caught the guy that shot your husband? We all know Tyler Robinson's been arrested. We all know he's standing trial for the shooting of Charlie Kirk. She's forgiven him in the name of Jesus. She stand up there, right? I forgive you. I forgive you that you killed my husband. So she said, you killed my husband. And yet this reporter asks, do you think they caught the guy that killed your husband? Do you follow what I'm saying? Is the question itself odd?
Very bizarre.
Now now listen to her answer.
So something I'm so grateful for is that we have one of the most incredible teams for this case. I would never wish it upon anybody to have to go through what we are going through. To have seen the autopsy report, to have seen the different evidence portions that have been collected. I trust our team.
That's her answer. Sorry.
What?
Fucking, do they have the right guy or not? First of all, why are you asking that question? Everybody knows it's Tyler Robinson. Do they have the right guy? Did they arrest the guy who shot your husband? Answer, yes or no. You know what? We've got a really good team. Fucking yes or no. Did they get the right guy or not? Why is this a question, number one? And why is her answer not, yeah, they got the right guy? Why is it, you know what, we've got a really good team? She pauses,
she says, yeah, they got the right guy. Many YouTubers and amazing people such as yourselves are going to say, no, they don't have the right guy. And that's exactly what we're still talking about, right?
I mean, am I making too much out of the weirdness of that question and answer?
No, it's all weird, man.
No.
Yeah, very odd.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I can't even believe that the media pushes this horse shit on people and so many people buy it.
Yeah.
Like the most obvious thing, the two most obvious things to me that state that he absolutely was not the one is that, number one, they had security cameras that would have captured him taking the shot, right? That's been proven. So why wouldn't they show that, right? I mean, that's right there. That's number one. Number two, the picture of the person in the stairwell is not him. It's not Tyler Robinson. And you can, like I always say, you can repeat a lie as many times as you want. It still does not make it the truth. So whether it was a totally staged event and he didn't get killed, regardless of what anybody's theory is, right? It still stands that Tyler Robinson was not the person who pulled the trigger in any case, whether it be a fake bogus shot or any kind of shot.
Yeah.
They would have shown it. And then why show pictures of a guy in a stairwell who physically, ears and chin. I said from day
Years.
one,
Yeah.
his chin and his ears are not the same, period.
The ears don't match 100%.
Yeah, and Tyler Robinson has a longer chin. The person, kind of longer chin, and the guy in that photo has sort of a sharper, shorter chin. So again, whether you believe he was in fact killed or that it was a complete psyop, Tyler Robinson did not do it. And if I had to guess, I mean, think about this, guys. I don't know how many, you guys probably know this. I don't know how many people in the chat know this. The school that Tyler Robinson went to for one semester had a CIA program in it called CAI, cute how they do that, is the Center for Anticipatory Intelligence, right? So is it possible that he went to that school to go to that program, right? He's a stellar student. He gets pulled out. They say this guy's going to be a great asset, and they pull him out. And now he's working for the CIA, right? So
Love that. Yeah.
what are the chances of that, you know, and all the other crazy coincidences that have come out about this case? Now, the one thing I can say without any doubt is this was an operation, 100%.
Yeah.
This was an intelligence operation. Whether I'm sure, and my gut feeling is it was a joint operation. And we all know who I'm talking about. It was a joint CIA operation for a lot of the reasons we've all talked about. And if extraction and taking someone away and they weren't really killed, that's a possibility too, because big money's involved.
Damn right, it's possible.
It's funny because yesterday we were talking about Candace Owens, and I think it might have been Estes or maybe it was you talking about the possibility that Candace Owens is CIA, involved with the CIA. I have something to share with you. You're really going to appreciate. But before we get to the Candace Owens and CIA thing, because I got a surprise for you. This is funny. I think it's funny. Some of you may know where I'm going with this, but I want to show this to everybody. Before we get to the Candace Owens CIA thing that was mentioned the other night, I want to just reiterate that question once more. Why wasn't the question to Erica Kirk more along the line, how do you feel about the young man who killed your husband, instead of, do they have the right guy? And why is her answer not, yes, they got the right guy, but you know what, we've got a really good team? What has changed? I still fundamentally have to wonder what's changed behind the scenes that Erica's not asked, how does she feel about the guy who killed your husband, and is asked, do they have the right guy? And her answer isn't, yeah, they got the right guy. It's, we got a good team. We're working on it.
Can I answer that question?
Yeah, please.
Okay. The reason that question was asked, because I agree with Estes Crime Maze that all the mainstream media are infiltrated by the CIA. That's not, at this point in time, anybody in the know knows that's not even controversial. So what they're trying to do potentially is they're planting a seed for the next phase of the story. Mm-hmm. So the next phase of the story is probably going to be Tyler Robinson was, you know, working with somebody, and they're going to try to connect something else from the outside to the case. Because remember, psyops and operations, part of what they're for is to keep people distracted, to keep them talking, keep them posting online, keep them engaged with information, keep questioning things. They're probably sitting there right now laughing at all of us because of that little exchange we just watched, because they know it's going to get people talking.
And it did, because I bought it hook, line, and sinker. You got me like a freaking fish on the hook, flopping around, going, "Oh my God, did Jesus say he might not be the killer?" I'm losing my fucking mind. All right, I have to say.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
We talked about Candace Owens being CIA. So I had 1111. I don't know if she's still here, but 1111 was saying, "Hey, by the way, have you taken a look at Candace Owens's merchandise and her merch store?"
I knew you were going to bring this up. I meant to bring this up. This is awesome.
This is awesome. I don't know if you can see it very well on the screen. I don't know if I can make it full screen. This is Candace Owens merchandise. It's Candace Intelligence Agencies, like it's CIA.
I love it.
right? And she's got this cup. Let me add this. This is awesome. She's got this cup. CIA. It's when you know, you know, and we know.
Oh my God.
And it's CIA on one front. And
I
I'm like,
love it. I can't wait to get a CIA mug, man.
what the fuck are you?
It's great.
Is it right?
Thank you
is
for
it
that.
right in your fucking face? Is it right in your face?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. That's
Sometimes-
great.
Look,
I feel like I'm
Tucker's
losing my
CIA. Candace might be CIA. I still like their content.
Well,
Sure.
you know, I hate to repeat it, but because usually I don't like name calling, but Tucker Fucker Carlson also got a laugh out of me last night about 12 times. But
Well, you'll keep hearing that from me, DA, because that's exactly who he is. Because he's a fucker, man. He's a liar.
Guys, look,
in my
I'm
opinion.
gonna just prove
No
a
doubt
point.
about it.
I have an X account. It's State of the Deep at State O the Deep. You'll find it if you search State of the Deep. I have an imposter, by the way, on there too, but you'll be
Nice.
able to see my little logo with the big magnifying glass on there. Look, search how far back I was saying Tucker is CIA.
Very
you can
good.
search my profile. You'll see.
State of the Deep. Can you repeat that again?
It's basically State of the Deep at State _O _ the Deep on X. But if you search State of the Deep, there'll probably be a few of them that come up because son of a bitch has copied me. But
dude, how did you get this? Is what's awesome. You didn't even how this is awesome. You've got imposters. I don't even have imposters yet. Like I know I'm gonna make it when people start copying DA and trying to be me, but I don't even have people doing that. You must have done
you want to
something
hear
right
a
in the
sad
world.
story?
Yeah.
This is my sob story that I've told to DA before. I have some of the biggest accounts on X that follow me, and they will not let me get past like 2,000 followers. I had 2,500 and I'm down to 1,800 followers. And no matter what, people will tell me they're going to follow me, this, that, and the other. And they will not, because I do not push divisive narratives, and they want to push people that do. And I don't. And if you look at some of the things I post about, I don't give the minutia bullshit to suck everybody in and get them all outraged. I cut right to the chase, and I believe, I'm biased, that I'm right about most of the shit that I post about. And so I think I'm definitely on the list, let's put it that way, because of the things that I've posted about the agency and about the government. But go to my X account, search for different topics, and see how long ago, how far back I was talking about this shit.
How much is the CIA mug in the sweater, please? Do we know?
I don't know. I don't know, but hold on. I'm trying to do something for you.
I hope you get really successful, DA, and you're on your way, more successful, I should say. And because I would love for you to buy me a CIA mug, and I'll try to get you a sweater for Christmas.
There you go. There you go.
And you too, Robin. You too.
Hold on.
You too, Joe.
I was trying to do this. Why the fuck can't I do this? Get off the stage, Candace, and your CIA shit. I was trying to bring up Joe's State of the Deep. X
Yeah,
account.
that's me right there.
Is that it right there?
Yep.
There you go. State of the Deep. There you go. That's the X account we were talking about. So I wanted to get that up in a timely fashion, and I sure fucking didn't do that. But better late than never is what my mom says. So actually, she doesn't say shit anymore because she's gone. But the point being is that's what she would have said if she was here right now. I want to share one more thought with you. This thing about the Tyler Robinson case is also related, in my opinion, to the Idaho 4 case, and it's just generally my bitch about trials. And the growing number of trials that are not in the public's view, these hidden trials that are out, their cameras are forbidden from the courtrooms, things are sealed under gag order. This new precedence of hiding the truth so that nobody knows is only leading to the erosion of trust in our legal system, because more and more they want to suppress trials and not let the public see what happens, and then say, trust us, at the end of the day, we'll get you the right guy. Salt Lake City Tribune and other media are pushing for transparency and access to Tyler Robinson's murder case. And here you're going to find law enforcement and others are trying to keep this gag order. They're asking the judge to not let the media see what's going on in this case. After the attorneys asked a judge to limit media access in the criminal case against Tyler James Robinson, charged with the fatal shooting of Charlie Kirk in Utah. News organizations have banded together to argue to keep the case open, spearheaded by the Salt Lake Tribune and its reporters, Jessica Schreffels, or whatever, how you pronounce that. The coalition of 14 news organizations filed a motion Wednesday asking the court to notify them if any future requests come in, asking to limit access to proceedings. So what they're going to bitch about is the sheriff's department has already asked to seal stuff from the public so that they don't see it. And the news agencies are like, please let us know before that somebody's requesting to seal and gag shit in this thing, because we would like to know who's wanting to seal and gag shit ahead of time, is basically what they're saying. Media attorney Michael Judd further asked 4th District Judge Tony F. Graff. By the way, so far, I am in love with Tony Graff. I hope he stays as true as he started. This guy actually keeps saying, we're going to believe that Tyler Robinson has the presumption of innocence until proven guilty. We're not going to treat him like a criminal and bringing him in shackles in front of the whole courtroom. This guy's starting out on a good stage. I hope I'm not giving him too much credit, because right now, I love this judge. Now, I hope he stays that way. The media group is a mix of local Utah outlets and national news organizations, including the New York Times, CNN, Associated Press, and Fox News. Here's something nice and encouraging. New York Times, CNN, Associated Press, and Fox News would like a transparent trial. That is at least a little encouraging, that they're not for the let's suppress and gag the shit out of this like we did with the Idaho 4 case. Unsurprisingly, Judge wrote, both parties have attempted to chip away at those access rights almost immediately. The group, formerly called Media Interveners, also are seeking relief for an infringement that members say has already happened. That infringement, Judge argued, occurred when the Utah County Sheriff's Office was allowed to file a court response under seal, where a later legal filing revealed the office requested that Graff limit media coverage in the courtroom so that Robinson's appearance wouldn't be made to the public. So already the sheriff's department's lobbying to hide shit from the public and not let them see things. And the media found out about it, and they're a little pissed off that this shit's happening behind closed doors, where even the request to hide stuff is happening behind closed doors. So yes, good for them is what I would say as well. The response was part to the legal argument about whether Robinson should be unshackled in court and allowed to wear plain clothes in an effort to keep a fair trial. Graff has allowed the sheriff's office to file a motion under seal because law enforcement had also detailed security protocols in it. So because the law enforcement told them how things work in their security detail, he allowed that to stay under seal so that the public wouldn't see potentially law enforcement secrets of transportation and all that shit. I get that. But the point being is that I love that the media is in a way kind of trying to do their job, which is let's have an open and transparent trial instead of this media gag order bullshit, because we don't need another Idaho 4 case on our hand where everybody's not told and they say, hey, trust us, when we get the answer right, we got the answer right. I think that's enough of that article. I can go to your guys' thoughts. What do you guys think about this? Is that a show? Is that for real? Is the CNN and Fox really at the end of the day care about an open and transparent trial, or is that just a show thing? What do you guys think?
They want to cover the trial because, as you know, they make money, right? Certain people and a lot of people in the media, Nancy Grace, the Ashley Bashfields, they're going to make a lot of money. So we saw that a little bit in the Idaho 4 case, didn't we? The media was trying to push to cover the case, and so they'll get a little bit of that, I think. But in the end, they very well may try to gag a lot of this. And as you say, we should have an open trial, for the public to see. Yeah, especially these cases. Yeah. It's got to happen. Come on.
I don't have anything extra for the Charlie Kirk situation, Tyler Robinson situation. Do you guys have any thoughts? I mean, I tell you this, I've got one of the things that I like to do on my show, and people say that I do well, I think a lot of people say I do well, is I break down legal documents. There's a shit ton of legal documents still to go through in the Tyler Robinson thing that I haven't gotten to yet. I plan on doing more of those deep dives on the documents, because every time I read a document, I swear I see something other people either didn't see or they didn't bring it to the attention that I will bring to it. So I'm looking forward to going through the legal documents in all my cases. But do you guys have anything that you want to say about the Tyler Robinson that you haven't already said, which is that maybe that's not even the same guy that they show on pictures? Go ahead, Jason Estes, you raise your hand.
Oh, sorry, it wasn't on Tyler Robinson, but if I may just really quickly say, Erica Kirk, now I'm almost feeling sorry for her when I see you playing these clips, DA, because she has got to pull it all out, man, of this acting. And she is not a very good actress, in my opinion. A lot of people can see that with half a brain, and they must have a lot of blackmail or something on her to push her out
Well-
to do all this, and she must be exhausted at this point.
You make a good point. And I want to, I don't know if it was the point you wanted to make, but I want to make this for you if you weren't making that point. There's an argument. People are busting Erica's balls, if you will, no pun intended. Okay, whatever. I don't want to change the euphemism. Point being is they're criticizing Erica on the way that she's handling this, right? She looks fake. She's got crocodile tears. What kind of person does that? And a lot of people have been critical of Erica, but I showed a reason why. And I don't know if you guys caught it, but I showed a reason why to suggest that what if Erica is doing this against her own will? What if the powers that be are saying, you're going to get up there on stage, damn it, and you're going to save Turning Point USA, and you're going to put on a strong face, and you're going to make a big, strong Christian statement that Jesus saved your husband or whatever, or saved lives, whatever. You're going to put on a show because this is bigger than your husband. And I'm sorry, but I'm sorry that you're grieving, but you need to put on a show, put your best face forward and go up there and perform. So what if it's not Erica that's the phony? What if it's the people around her twisting her arm? And maybe she is leaning in on camera and saying, I can't do this. I can't do this. I don't want to do this. And they're like, I'm proud of you. Just stand up there and fucking take one for the team and make it look like it's a big tragedy.
Yeah, she's totally controlled, man. Totally controlled
Well,
by
look,
the intelligence community.
I've long had a theory that's, think about one nation under blackmail. I've said this from years and years and years. You cannot become uber wealthy and powerful without having either being corrupt or having like a blackmail component to it, where you're going to do, we've got shit on you, like perhaps the Romanian Angels or one of these things. So that way you take the people, rather than people get powerful and then get blackmailed. One of my theories is you find somebody that's an ambitious person, is very ambitious. You get them involved in something really shady, so you have blackmail material, or you set them up so you can blackmail them, and then you rise them in the ranks, right? Yeah. So it's the opposite of what most people think, which is you get really powerful, they blackmail you.
Yeah, what you're saying, Joe, it's called a control file. You can say too. Every congressman has a control file.
Sure, absolutely.
Sorry,
yeah. So I'll say this. I think that's very possible that they've got stuff on her, and she's, wants to, obviously she's an ambitious person. She wants to continue to be ambitious. So, hey, if you want to keep moving up, right, and more power and wealth, you're going to play this game. But I will say the second thing I'll say, the powers that be, and whether you think it's the government, whether you think it's the intelligence agencies, whether you think it's the bankers, they always tell you, they drop hints about what they're going to do. They always do it. They always have. They always telegraph what they're going to do. And what just happened in that video, saying the way that was said, the way she responded, wiping the tears, they're going to mark my words, remember this conversation, something else is going to come out relating to Tyler Robinson, that either he didn't do it alone, or, we got the wrong guy. It's actually this, that, or the other. Because remember, part of the game is keep people engaged, keep them watching the media, keep them talking on social media. So I believe that something else is going to come out, and we just saw the telegraph for it.
Really
nice.
I agree.
Nice. I hope that we can reference this episode and come back and play it and be like, this is when he said it live. Fuck it, we'll do it live.
By the way, excuse me, everything I said about Erica, just for legal reasons, just to be extra caution, are my opinions. Did you hear that, Erica Kirk? These are my opinions, sweetheart.
Of course,
you are controlled.
All speculation.
I think it's.
How about Tucker? Is that an opinion?
Let's just put it this way. If I saw Tucker Fucker Carlson, if we ever have a drink together, he is going to hear it from me. I'm going to be very firm with him, and we're going to have a very deep discussion, Tucker Fucker Carlson. But he came to my powerful country, Canada. He pumped up our country. I sure as hell wish I met that guy, but I never had the chance. Tucker Fucker Carlson, clean up your act, dude, in my opinion. Okay, but anyway, all the best.
Fair.
These people drive me crazy sometimes.
And it's funny because there's a part of me that honestly, and I hope you take this the right way, Jason, but there's a part of me that I never like name calling because I feel like it degenerates the conversation. If you have to start calling somebody names, you've lost the argument, is what I was taught when I was growing up. But yet I can't stop but laughing my ass off the way you say Tucker Fucker Carlson with such conviction. It's just hilarious. But generally speaking, I try to like don't resort to name calling, but it's funny.
Tucker needs to be, thank you. He needs to be called out, in my opinion. Absolutely.
So I want to close on one small, and it will be relatively small, gotcha moment in the Rex Heuermann case. It's another case that I'm covering. We're not going to talk about Mickey Steins today unless people bring it up in the chat. We won't talk about what is the other case that I've got? What's this? I want to talk about the Rex.
That's your boy, thing. Jason.
They got me today on Rex Heuermann with this because it was behind a paywall. Newsday, Gilgo Beach killing. The suspected killer, Rex Heuermann's DNA does not match 1994 murder scene. ME rules. And I'm like, what? Rex's DNA doesn't match? Oh, you fucking got me. After I paid for your paywall, you got me. Because ultimately what they're talking about is Bitroff, another person accused of killing Colleen McNamee. They were saying, hey, what if Rex Heuermann is the one that killed this one? So they tested the DNA and in the crime that Bitroff was accused of and said, no, Rex Heuermann's DNA is not at the scene. But I bought it hook, line, and sinker. DNA from Rex Heuermann is not at one of the crime scenes. And I'm like, holy shit, one of the Gilgo. No, it wasn't the Gilgo 4. It wasn't the Gilgo 7. It's not any of the murders that Rex Heuermann is actually charged with. It was Bitroff's murder. And yes, Rex Heuermann's DNA didn't show up at that crime scene. So you guys got me. You got me 25 cents for the free 25 cents, and you get 6 months look at the Newsday thing. Congratulations, you got my quarter. Fantastic, good for you. But I bought it hook, line, and sinker. Watch for clickbait titles. It's funny. I was talking to one as we were getting ready to go live, and I said, I can't believe the one story I want to show about this. There's only one place reporting on it, and it's behind a paywall. And I even said to him, that's your first clue. If only one person's reporting on it, it's probably not news. And I paid the paywall. I paid the paywall to take a look, and it was like, oh yeah, Bitroff's murder didn't link to Heuermann.
Just to add a bit of humor again, can you scroll to Rex's hair, please? I'm sure glad I went bald. Can you look at that haircut of this evil monster? Unbelievable.
Do you know? You do not know what a funny comment that is, and I'll tell you why. I had an article queued up. Let me get us to the full screen so I can see your beautiful faces. I had an article queued up, a whole article about Rex Heuermann's changing hairstyles and whether he's wearing a toupee or not, and whether that means that the correctional facility is allowing Rex Heuermann to have a toupee at his trial, and all kinds of questions that came up, and the wife's comments that I don't like my husband's hair, it's getting unkempt, and then they showed pictures of Rex Heuermann's evolving hair throughout his, like there was a whole fucking article, like a really long article about Rex Heuermann's changing hairstyles and whether or not he, oh my God. So it's funny that you mentioned and made me scroll up to watch his hair because I had an article. I let it go by the sideline yesterday. Okay. Now you make me regret that. I should have had it as a feature story because it's funny as shit. But anyways, yeah, there it is. We'll put it up on screen one more time since I spent time talking about his hair. Bam!
What do you think, Robin? Robin, what do you think of that haircut?
Oh, it's just
or toupee.
I told you I should never do this.
The best is.
I told you I should never do this. Let me never do a search live where somebody can pause and look what your search criteria is. That is a bad thing when you're on my computer. But I want to show you some pictures of Rex Heuermann's evolving hairstyle. So there's one from court. Here's one from younger. And I want to show the really good unkempt one. Oh yeah, here's one from earlier in his marriage. This is making national news. Here's one. Where's the one in his bulletproof vest? Oh yeah, here we go. Here's a very scraggly
wow. Look at that guy.
Holy shit. I mean, I'm ready to convict him right now. That hairstyle fucking has got to fucking go. But anyways, yeah, this made a major news article. I swear they spent about 20 pages talking about his hair, doing a psychological profile about how, here's what they said. I shit you not. There was a psychological profile that said, look, one of the only things that an inmate can control in his life is his hair. And so it's a statement from inside the prison that you control your hairstyle because it's the
what
only thing you have
Kohlberger did.
control over.
Yeah, remember
Right?
Kohlberger? He had his hair zipped, lines in his hair, in the hearings. Remember that?
Well, no, like that was Luigi Mangione. Luigi Mangione had that low cut fade, and they were like, "Look at that! The prisoners are taking care of Luigi. They're giving him a respectful haircut."
If you go back to the hearings, see Kohlberger and women were saying. One woman said they think the feds did that on purpose to give him sort of a harder ass look, sort of.
Right? I mean, I don't know. Am I clickbaiting people by talking about Rex Heuermann's hair, or am I just reporting on the news? There's a fine line, I guess.
That's heavy hitting journalism, DA.
That is fucking hard. This is why I'm going to get paid the big dollars someday. That hard hitting, award winning journalism reporting on the hairstyle is going to win me some kind of Pulitzer. I'm pretty sure of it.
Devil is in the hair.
The devil is in the hair. All right. We're close to wrapping up. I want to give the opportunity. I saw somebody come in and they said hi to me, and I was going to say, I think it was Donna said hi to me. Donna L. Hey, DA in the chat. Thank you for saying hi. We had several other people say hi recently. It's your last call, people, for our great panel. Make sure that you give a like, love, and subscribe to, I think, the only person right now that has a really active channel, Estes Crime Maze. Joe, when you get yours fired up, we'll advertise the piss out of that as well. Joe and I, of course, are featured on Deep Devils, where we talk about a lot of the stuff we talked about tonight, CIA cutouts, all kinds of shit involved with the deeper state, the deep state, and what's going on there. As you know as well, Joe recommended to me the book, One Nation Under Blackmail, which I am firmly convinced. By the way, I feel like you really have to be a certain kind of person to enjoy it. But I did another chapter, a review of One Nation Under Blackmail today. We were talking about Watergate. It's 3/4 of the way done, because in the middle of finishing that video, I got an emergency call. I had to shut the video down. I am going to have to reload the stream, finish the reading of that chapter, and publish it tonight for release tomorrow. But in it, we talk about Watergate. And here's the surprising teaser of the Watergate thing and how it relates to Charlie Kirk, Jeffrey Epstein. Is there a connection between Watergate? Here's where the connection was. What they said, here's the teaser. What they said was, in this book, was that the reason for the break-in at the Democratic National Convention, the DNC, and the bugging of the offices never has really been fully answered. It's kind of the bullshit answer of what really happened. What did really happen at Watergate? What really was going on? And what they're making an argument, what Whitney Webb makes an argument in the book is, they were really looking after an office of somebody next to the DNC who was using their phone in that office to arrange call girls for congressmen. And they actually were hooking up congressmen in DC with call girls and putting them in a hotel near the Watergate. And that was what was really going on. It was a sex scandal, honeypot situation where politicians were being lured in to have relations with women. They would record it. They would get blackmail information on politicians, and they were going after the little black book, the names of people who were connected with the prostitutes who were seeing it. And that's what was really they were going after. And it's really what toppled Nixon's administration, according to some hints that Whitney Webb is laying down, that everything in our country is about blackmail, oftentimes sexual blackmail. How does that relate to Charlie Kirk? Because I've stated my personal opinion. There are many reasons why. Joe has said this before many times. It's not just usually one reason why somebody's assassinated. It usually fits several agendas. One of the agendas, and the one that I'm pulling the thread on, again, Joe's convinced me, find a thread and pull that one thread really hard. My thread is Charlie Kirk was heavy into criticizing the Jeffrey Epstein files, releasing who was in Jeffrey Epstein's little black book, his contacts, who was compromised in our government by the honeypot that Jeffrey Epstein was running. I believe Jeffrey Epstein, you in America mostly have bought the story that he's just a little pervert that likes little girls and he's a pedophile and he had a stroke of conscience and killed himself. That was murder because he was blackmailing probably half of Congress, and maybe on behalf of Israel, maybe on behalf of our own country. The honeypot situation is well documented and it's all over this book, One Nation Under Blackmail. If that interests you at all, please watch my book series on it. It's fascinating shit. And again, tomorrow's episode will be about Watergate and whether Watergate was really what they said it was, or was it about sexual blackmail and who was getting blackmailed and who was going to get blown out of the water with the little black book. And is that related to the same kind of thing? Was Charlie Kirk pushing the wrong buttons by saying maybe we should question how much control Israel has over the United States? How much did Jeffrey, and again, he didn't say this, I'm speculating. Was he questioning How much did Jeffrey Epstein get on U.S. politicians? Should we be re-examining why we do certain things that we do in our country? If those were the type of questions he's asking, is it possible that he was assassinated to shut that freaking thing down? And does that explain why right after he was assassinated, Congress voted not to release any of that information? It's questions that I have on my mind and the thread that I'm pulling. Any thoughts on that, guys? That was pretty deep shit. Did you guys want to weigh in on that at all?
Can I go ahead on one real quick?
Fuck yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Before you guys, Watergate, you mentioned Watergate. Nixon, of course, Nixon was the first one to really come out publicly and mention a CIA limited hangout. And Whitney Webb, for whatever reason, won't tell you that. I think I know why she hasn't said that. And then Dr. Shiva, as I said, my buddy there, Dr. Shiva, has really researched what a CIA limited hangout is. I think you and Joe pretty much know what that is. You know, you plagiarize, you only get a little bit of the truth. There's a few steps to it. And that's what the CIA are experts at doing, right? So we got to be aware of that. And it relates to Epstein, I think, right? Idaho 4 a little bit, I believe, as well. And Luigi Mangione, you know, the media giving that sort of CIA limited hangout. Anyway, don't want to.
So I thank you all again for my wonderful panel. Last chance for anybody in the chat that wants to ask a question on Idaho 4, Koberger, a last statement that you want pinned for everybody to read just so they can see your opinion. Tyler Robinson, Charlie Kirk, Jeffrey Epstein, you know, Rex Heuermann, Erica Kirk, you know, there's names I'm throwing all over the place. Mickey Steins, the judge in that case, Judge Mullins, Lila Steins, any of those names springing to your mind that you're like, oh yeah, I wanted to say something about that. This is your last call for alcohol.
And check out Deep Devils, everybody. We'll be digging into some cool topics. And you know what? Please follow me on X, because everything I do, I'll also post it to X. Any stuff, once I get my stuff really up and running, it'll all go on X with links and whatnot.
Yeah, and so I think that's your X account again right there.
Yeah, that's it.
Perfect. And I
had a question. I had a question for Etsy's. Yeah, I know he's got a live tomorrow at.
Yes, thanks for asking. 4 p.m. Eastern.
4 p.m. Eastern. Okay.
Yeah, I'd be honored if one or more of you want to come on and join me. That'd be awesome. Give me more excitement. I'm going to go over a list, hopefully, of that extraction removal operation that I think took place. But
there's Estes Crime Maze page right there for you guys front and center. If you want to see that, go like, subscribe to that. Check out the live. I'm actually helping. I want to say I'm trying to mentor Jason Estes. I don't know if that's offensive to you, but I'm trying to help build his channel, get him monetized, teach him how to use the tools.
You have me a lot of subscribers, man. I really appreciate the support and the help you guys have given me, especially.
I think it's well deserved. You've got a good thing going on, and you know it's different than mine. So if you were just a parrot of me, I probably wouldn't do it. I'd be like, you're just competing against me, but you got your own. Your own stick.
Thank you again, Joe, for subscribing the other night, and
yes, sir.
Thank you guys, the rest of you, for showing interest.
All right, thank you, everybody, and have a great night. It was a fun time tonight. Take it easy.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good night.
Bye.